Hi, Marina.
Hi, Tess. How are you doing?
So very good to meet you. So the reason we're talking
You
is
too.
you had contacted me and told me about some of the success you'd had by working with some of Irene's free resources that she provides on her site, and which is fantastic. And so I guess the first thing I'd be really curious to know is just what was happening for you? Like what was going on in your life that led you to look for this kind of healing work, nervous system based trauma healing?
Basically, I had redevelopmental trauma and childhood trauma, and I started going through talk therapy,
Yeah.
and I walked my journey into talk therapy until I found a point when I had to talk about that childhood trauma. It's like you were, I didn't know that there's something called somatic experiencing back then. So when I start talking about it, it hit me. It's just throw me away into an anxiety. Like
Mm,
it's like I've been reliving the whole situation, the whole incident
mm,
again,
mm,
and I didn't know that there's something called somatic experiencing. But I have experienced things like I had pain in my stomach, and this
mm.
pain goes away when I cry. So I had the sense that there's something related to my body somehow, but I didn't know what was it. I didn't know that there's science called somatic experiencing. That was the situation until by the mere chance, which I believe it was an amazing chance, I found the video for Irene called "How Trauma is Released from the Body."
Ah, yes. Great.
Yes, and I started watching this video, and she started with the basics, like how you can follow on your own the involuntary things that are happening in your body, like
Ah,
following when you're thirsty and when you want to go to the bathroom,
the
and
impulses. Yes.
the
Listening to
impulse.
the impulses. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and it was so educative that I actually binged watching the videos for so long, for maybe a week or two, until I got the it's like you're installed the knowledge. It's like from
Yeah.
your now automatically when I'm going to drink, I'm gonna focus with my thirst sensation. When I'm going to the bathroom, I'm gonna. It's like it's the education have been installed in my mind that
Yes.
I'm now focusing more and more.
It's like you
So that
downloaded it. It's like you sort of
yes,
downloaded the instructions and started to live it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, started to live. That was actually that was a changing point for
Yeah.
me because I felt more connected to my body. I want to say something. I was working and then I left did that job. But the thing is, I was hit by a severe anxiety like sensation, an anxiety like attacks maybe,
Attack.
that
Yeah.
I would when I come home from work, my I had serious, like my tongue was so, I was so serious, and
Mm.
my body feels like I was running. I was there was It was normal work, but because it has something to do with my trauma, it's
Yeah.
like I was in fighting mode. I didn't understand back then that it was fighting mode.
Right.
And that day I felt like I was so tired, and the thing that helped me, that I had to do a meditation workout
Mm.
to be in my body. And when I did that, I started feeling more calm that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So I know there's something related in my body, but I didn't know what was it.
Yeah. Like an intuitive sense. Oh, there's
Yes,
feelings, and then
which is weird. Yes.
yeah, 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 and you
It's
started to
like yes,
experience like, oh, if I listen to my body and do something, then something else happens, and so you're starting
yes.
to, yeah, yeah, wow,
I started listening, but the thing is, I would be always grateful that this YouTube video came across, because I I didn't know that there's the whole science behind it. I didn't know this, but it's like I'm grateful. So I started following the videos and watching them. I started learning about anger and what is anger, because my whole life anger was perceived as something that is not good,
hmm,
not okay to be angry. And more education came in, and then I reached a point. I didn't start to experience things, to
hmm,
experience somatic experiencing. I was just doing the exercises, but
yeah,
I wasn't sure if it's not for me or not. Then I had the idea to send you the email, because I read one of your articles that was speaking about the anger. You
yes,
know,
yeah, healthy
the
aggression,
bubble one.
yeah,
Yes,
oh,
the
the one with the
bubble one.
bubble, the annihilation, yes,
The
yes,
annihilation. Yes.
Yeah, so just for people who are
And
listening, I'll just explain briefly. This is an article of mine that it's about working with anger and allowing yourself to express actually hatred, even, and this desire to kill, but in a way that's
yeah,
safe and contained.
yes,
And because the thing is, those energies are in us and they need to come out, but they need to come out
yes,
safely so that no one gets hurt and we don't get hurt, but we get to get that energy back that's been sort of locked away in this aggression. So that's what that article is about. So you read that now. That's when you sent me that email. Yeah.
yes. And I read that because it was so. It's somehow related to what I was feeling. I was
Yeah.
feeling immense anger. It's
Yeah.
like there's this kind of monster that needs to go out,
Yeah.
and so I needed like more help. So I need to contact someone personally. I need help. So I sent you this email, and you told me just start with the free resources. So
Yeah.
that's what I did.
Yeah.
I started doing the exercise. The thing is, it's not like you're following things or doing things that you don't understand. There is always an explanation. There is always education
Yeah.
in the whole scheme of the journey with Irene. It's like she's explaining to you what's going on in your body, and then you have to apply it to your body and understand your physiology. And there's always this space that you would judge what's happening in your body. It's like she's not telling you if that happened, then that would happen.
Right.
She's just like, this is the science, guys, and apply to your own physiology and just see what's going on.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
was
It's not cookie cutter, right? It's not like a do this and then you do this and then you do
No,
this.
no, 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 no.
It's like you have to
It's
learn.
wide open. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
That's the point. That's I guess that's the key. It's like learning because she always emphasizes on the thing that our physiology is different. The way
That's
that you
right.
react to something will be different than the
That's
way you experience something.
yeah, people respond differently, but if we understand what's happening, then we can start to sort of be intuitive, right? And
Yes,
yeah,
intuition. Yes,
yeah, yeah.
that's
Yeah, having that education is so important, and that's why, so much education is available for free because
yes.
it's like that's how you get started. And so I'd love to hear, was there a particular free resource that spoke to you, that was, or was it just all of them?
I can't remember the name of it, but there's a series of three videos
The
on it,
Healing
and I
Trauma
can't.
video series.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was so to the point and explaining things, what's happening, and the definition of trauma. What's why you're feeling stuck somehow? Why that you can't? There's things that was so resonating with what I was experiencing.
yeah,
That actually was my code maybe. And of course the videos and YouTube videos were amazing. That was
right.
one of the free resources, yes, of course.
Yes.
But that one was so educative and was to the point, and there was like a sheet afterwards that it's helping
Yeah,
you
there's like
more.
actual, yeah, home kind of homework that you can
Kind
like
of
make
homework.
sure you know what you're receiving is accurate, and you sort of cement
Yes,
the knowledge and get it in you. Yeah, that's great.
yes.
That's so great.
So back then I was in another. I was in Cairo. Then I
Ah,
left back to my hometown, and this time it was 4 months. I left Cairo in December, and I was there for 4 months, and then I go back to Cairo again. But that 4 months was the with experience, was the whole experience of the somatic experience, was the whole experience of what was happening with me.
yeah.
I didn't stop watching the videos. I was on the go. Even when I was on the bus, I can tell you, I watched orienting when I was back home on the bus. I
Uh,
watched the video, what is orienting on
yeah.
the bus,
Great.
and I started
Great.
feeling. But I tell you something. On the bus, I was experiencing. One of the things that was helping me is I was putting my hand on my stomach,
Uh-huh.
because this when I was feeling an anxiety. I was anxious in my way home, so that was when I just calming myself down. I was always all the time I was just doing this because I was so anxious and scared. So
Yeah.
I started doing small things that like soothing techniques for me, even
Yeah.
when I was on my way home, and I was watching the videos on the go. Everyone around me didn't know what I was going through, so it
Right.
was my own experience.
Right.
So they didn't understand what's going on. It's like I don't sometimes some videos I watched more than once because sis, it's like you are installing some way of thinking. It's like
That's right.
I can't explain it, but each time, like for instance, orienting, I watched it more than 3 times, I guess.
Yeah.
Each time I was watching it, there's something added, installed to the program for me. and
Yeah.
there is something that I was understanding more. For instance, also the freezing response was adding more and more.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
I
that's
had
not unusual.
three.
Like that's it's very normal that it can take a long time for this because it is a new way of thinking about sort of ourselves and our connection to
Yes,
the environment. And
yes,
it's a whole sort of like it's like learning a different language. So it
yes.
takes
It is.
sometimes multiple viewings for this information to really land and integrate.
Yes, and each time you get something that you notice in yourself that you didn't notice before, you
Yeah.
start applying it. So the major. So I started with anger because I know the technique for how to get anger when I was in Cairo. So I was pushing the wall.
Yeah.
That was my technique to get my anger, and I didn't know it. That was. I just felt it. I felt like I want to do this.
Yeah. Instinctive. Yeah.
So I did instinctive.
Yeah.
So I did. I was pushing the wall. I was pushing. So that's when it started with me. I was pushing the wall. Then I had like maybe 3 or 4 major somatic experiencing.
Mm.
I've told you about two of them.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that developmental trauma has an effect on me. I thought that only my childhood trauma that had major effect on me.
Mm.
But I was watching a video. Irene was interviewing one of her teachers, Kathy Kane.
Yes. Oh, that's a wonderful
Yes,
video. Yes. Yeah.
yes. So I was just watching on the office. I was watching. Then I moved to the couch. But before I was moving to the couch, I sensed, I focused on the sensation of a shiver down my spine.
Yes.
But that was after a long time. I guess I've been practicing. That was at the end of December, but I
Yeah,
was
so this
practicing.
is after you've been sort of taking in the information for quite a while and
Yeah,
under
and building capacity.
and building capacity.
That's a
Exactly.
key.
That's
That's a key. That's really a key. You
really
can't. The more you know about your body and the more you practice, it's like your body is like, as she's saying, as Irene was saying, it's like your body is like letting things out that you didn't know.
that's right.
So, for instance, before the feeling, the shivering, I started feeling what it was cold. It was in December, so it was cold. So when I was washing my face, I started feeling, what does water coming, what does cold water comes to my face do? And I felt the veins like constricting. It's like
Mm.
these small things, but it's like deepening your connection with your body. Each
Yes.
each thing that you notice in your body, it's like deepening your connection with your physiology more and more. And that was a time when I felt, I told you, I felt the shivering down my spine, and I felt the neurons firing
Yeah.
in my mind.
So yeah, it's interesting because yeah, you were just talking about how as you started to get more and more connected to your physiology, things just started to happen organically. So you had this
Yes,
experience of washing your face and really tuning
yes,
into the feeling of cold and like
yes,
feeling that in your veins almost. And then you said you had like this shivering that just sort of organically started to happen, like going down your spine.
yes, yes. So the shivering sensation, I felt like the neurons was. It's like, if you can draw it, it's like you're drawing a way of and the neurons is like a way, and there's a fire going through it
Mm,
down my spine.
yeah.
I was following it. I was keen to know, what does it mean? What does it feel in my physiology? So I moved from my office, from where I was sitting in a chair, to a couch, and it was spontaneous. It was natural. I didn't control it. I didn't say it for it to come. It just happened that there was, my hands was like fire, kind of a seizure, but it's not a seizure. Your muscles is,
Yeah.
it's like my
Yeah,
hand was
like a
crying. I was
trembling, like a trembling that was moving through.
trembling. Yes,
Yeah.
trembling sensation. It was all over my body, and I, I didn't control it. It was out of my control. It's like my body's doing it out of my control. It was weird for me, but I wasn't scared of it.
Yeah, that's so important. That's so important. If I can just highlight that you weren't scared of it. And would you
No.
say that you weren't scared of it just because of the education and you understood like what was happening?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and I, the thing is that you get a whole new perspective on how you perceive your physiology. You get to respect it.
Yes.
So when I said, it's like not I said, it's like also installed in my mind. When my body does want to do this, I will let it do it.
That's right.
So that's what happening to me. My hand was throwing some. It's like you were throwing something away. Both my hand, actually, not one. And I was feeling the firing. Like my hand was on fire, like really on fire. And there's something I need to do. It's like a side comment. I now discovered how powerful our bodies are.
Mm.
You know the power the how new this chemical things are happening, and this neurological power that in your body is true. I
Yes.
felt that was I was there was like, and the muscle were so strong. They were contracting so powerfully,
Yeah.
and so I was starting this having this like kind of like a seizure experience, but it was not in my mind, and my mind was not the cause. It was my body.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're having
Yeah.
these trembles come through and shivers, and it sounds like your hands want it and your arms what just started moving, like doing these movements
Yes.
organically. Yeah.
Like hitting something, but it's not hitting something. It's like I want to just get this energy out. I
Yeah.
don't know if get just I was doing this. It started in my hand, and then it goes on into my legs, and I was crying. I was crying, like not without crying. It's like I was silently crying.
Yes.
I was
The emotion.
experiencing these things, and tears was coming out from my eyes, and I was having a break. I don't know. I didn't have this break. It's like my body was taking a break and then back again. And I remembered Irene's comment. She always emphasized on the idea that you have to always be aware. It's like you don't have you shouldn't you should focus where you are and what you're doing. So that's
Yes.
what I was doing. I was reminding myself where I am. So I am at home. It's Wednesday. It's 23rd of December. I can't remember the exact date, but I was always reminding myself where I am, what I was doing, what day is it, not
Yes.
to
So
go.
that's the piece of
That,
like you're orienting, right? You're orienting to the
yeah,
present
I
environment.
was.
It's so important what you've learned because
Yeah.
a lot of times something like you described may happen to someone, but they get
Mhm.
scared of it, right? And as soon as you get
Sure.
scared of it and try to stop it, right, it goes back in. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, of course. And actually, this happened to me. It just happened
Hmm.
recently. I'm still experiencing things.
Hmm.
And one of the things it's been 3 days since I was experiencing a severe crying sessions, like crying attacks. I can't, like, I don't know what is called scientifically. And
Like big emotion
I
coming
was
through, like big
big,
tears.
big
Yeah.
sadness. It's like a big
Yeah.
bag of sadness,
Yeah.
and I feel it in my chest.
Yeah.
Today, for instance, like yesterday, Sunday. Yes, yesterday was Sunday. I was in the morning. I was feeling that there's an immense sadness in my body, but I
Yeah.
was not scared of it. I was realizing that it's big. So I was trying to get it out, but because I was running, it's bigger than me.
Mm.
It wasn't out.
Right. Right.
Not until I give myself a break and start saying that just small bit by small bit, because it's
Yeah.
really big.
Yeah. With grief like this, especially, it can sometimes seem like a sort of this endless whirlpool that is much bigger than us. And
Yes, it is.
and so that's another time when it is, yeah, so important to understand that we can actually come out of that. We can choose, right? To, well, okay, I'm feeling it, but I'm going to focus more on the outside. Like you say, like give yourself a little break.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. Yes. I focused. I listening to music. I was just eating, living my day normally, because I felt I felt that it's bigger than me now. I couldn't handle it.
yeah,
So I gave myself today. I just get out a small bit of it, and
good.
I know that it will be continuing for weeks. Maybe I don't know. I can't predict,
Yeah,
but this is one of the factors that Irene says also, that if you know that this is bigger than you and it will put you in freeze, for instance, or something like that, you have to just give yourself a break.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So that's what I did.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And that's one of the really important things that people who do take the time like you to learn the education, they understand that it's actually it's okay to take a break. This work isn't
Yeah.
about having huge like catharsis. I mean, sometimes that happens,
No.
it's fine, but it's more often like, yeah, we develop capacity because we learn that we can sort of dip in and out, feel,
Yeah.
take a break, right? So yeah, that's
Yes.
really good. Yeah,
It's a journey. It's a journey. It's the literal meaning of journey, and it's really learning a new language. Both expressions are really hugely applicable to the whole experience. It's like
absolutely.
you're not going after, like you said, a catharsis. No, you just experiencing yourself. You're
Yeah.
experiencing your physiology. You're learning things about, and actually, it has there's a spiritual aspect to it. It's like you're more
Mm.
connected to who you are when you are in
Mhm.
your body. You're no longer thrown away of your identity. It's just like you're becoming more yourself.
That's
it's
right.
it's
That's right.
yeah, it's an amazing
Wow.
experience. Sorry.
So can I ask, when I
Yeah.
believe that when you contacted me, you weren't able to work, like you said, you had to take a break. And then I think you said that
Yeah.
you're now back to work. Is that right?
Yes.
How's that experience been for you coming back into the workplace with this all this new knowledge and capacity and experience? What's been happening for you?
So I left my job out of mental breakdown, you could say.
Yeah, yeah,
But it
yeah,
was an anxiety again. So, and because see, trauma, it has nothing. It doesn't only have something to do with your physiology. It has something to do with your personality.
yeah.
So I wasn't someone assuring. I wasn't someone who knows how to put boundaries.
Right,
So yeah, so my old job and my old manager was a manipulative, and she wasn't giving me credit, and a lot of things that led me to go leave work out of a mental breakdown. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I need to leave just right now. And I didn't even give them a 2 weeks notice. I was so
Mhm.
wanting to leave this place as
Yeah,
soon as possible. So
yeah.
that was the experience.
It sounds like that job wasn't only, it's not like you were just getting triggered. It really was a toxic workplace. Like it wasn't good for you. It
It
sounds.
was.
Yeah.
It wasn't. See,
Yeah.
it wasn't because, not just because my boundaries. See, I wasn't able to deal with conflicts.
Right.
I wasn't able to confront people.
Right.
I wasn't able to speak to myself, and it's like it's a whole wrong concept. Like you have to be. There's a difference between being forgiving and I
Mm.
have so mixed up kind of um, thoughts about what does it mean to put your boundary on, and what does it mean that you should take the credit that people takes away from. It's just like the workplace was toxic, but I believe if I am now in the same workplace, things would be different.
Yeah, because you're different.
Because
Yeah.
you have to understand that this childhood trauma had put me into a feeling of um, helplessness.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Childhood trauma had made me feel like I can't defend myself because it was an incident that I wasn't able to defend myself in.
Right. Right. It sounds like, getting to know yourself as you did more deeply, and also especially maybe that work with anger and understanding that it's okay to feel that. And it sounds like that's probably been helpful. Is that right? In terms of feeling your sense of boundaries and how you can have those?
Yes, yes, that was actually, yes, because I emotional dysregulation was because I have this immense amount of anger that I wasn't able to get out.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So,
So I wasn't able to express myself and put my boundaries down and put my head, down that this is my boundary, you should not cross it.
right. Right. So you're new, as you've gone back to work, is it a different type of workplace? Is it better?
So yes, it's better, and it's different workplace because the environment is different. I'm working with outside Egypt. I'm not
Okay.
working with in the same environment. Different people, yes, different people, but I wasn't in the same situations to judge how I will I was about to react, but
Hmm.
I can judge myself outside of work. You know what I mean?
Of
It's
course,
like
yeah. And I
I
want
know that if I was in the same situations back then, today with this personality, I know how to stand myself for myself. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's like not because the environment is not challenging, that doesn't mean that I don't know what are my profits, you know?
Yeah. And it's also important, like it's an important point also that you've managed to create a better workplace for yourself. Because this is also something that happens when people do this work is they like,
Yes.
yes, you have the resiliency and the capacity and the boundaries now that if you were in that old workplace, you could navigate it. But
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
you've created a better situation for yourself. It sounds like
Yes.
just because you know yourself better. So you know more like this is what I want, this is what I don't want. That's
Exactly. Yes.
yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
That's good.
great.
Thank you for explaining it more than I can do.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. And it's so important because all of that is an expression of your agency, what we call agency, like the ability
Yeah.
to choose, right? And
Yes.
that really
To
comes
then
from
say
knowing
no.
yourself. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Say no and put boundaries and put your head, yeah, like put your head, foot in the ground and say no. This is not acceptable for me, or this is causing your crossing my boundaries,
Yeah.
or I shouldn't do this. I couldn't do that. I wasn't able to say no for even for a favor. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like I couldn't say no because I can't say no.
Yeah.
It's not installed in my physiology.
Yeah, it's something you had to build. Like you built that
Yes,
ability within yourself. Yeah.
yes, yes. It's great.
Amazing. Well, it's so good to hear these stories, Marina, and so amazing that you did it. I mean, just by really applying yourself to everything that was offered for free. I mean, I wish and the whole reason we're talking is I want people to know that
Yeah.
they can have a lot of change if they really apply themselves to everything that's
Yes.
there. Because lots of times people say, we get messages from people like, oh, I want to heal, but I guess it's only for people who have money, or, I can't possibly
Oh,
afford, so I won't, I guess I'm stuck. And it's like, no,
no,
you
no,
can,
no,
you can
no.
do a lot, right?
Yes, there are a lot of work to be done. Yes, of course, and there are a lot of education to be learned. But it's like I don't know. Maybe people want big changes, but you can start small, and you will start small.
Yeah, yeah. And then you kind
Yeah,
of have to, right? You start like you say, like you did. You build your capacity by learning about
I
yourself.
started following my impulses. This
That's
is the
right.
smallest thing you can do, and you can follow. And the more you follow, you will. And the education that is available in the free resources is great.
Yeah.
You learn what's going on in your physiology. So
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me. I think it's really valuable and I'm so happy
thank
for
you.
you that you
Thank
have,
you.
yeah, you like it's really wonderful story.
I
There.
want to thank you both, you and Irene, for the great work that you're doing around the world. It's amazing.
Oh, my pleasure. My
You're
pleasure.
saving lives.
Well, we were really happy to do so. It's just, I benefited so much from this work myself. I was someone who couldn't deal or function with society and so it's been so helpful for me and it's just a blessing when I get to hear these stories from other people who are also benefiting now. So I thank you
Yeah.
very much, Marina.
Thank you. Thank you, sis, for your time. Thank you so much.